The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence.
As 8 races have ticked by on the Triple Bypass racing season, we now head to Fort Worth, Texas with the Texas Motor Speedway. A track with a lot of different opinions towards it via configurations and different changes and overall the racing quality here, but with the different sizes of corners and the different bankings, the new challenges will certainly test these drivers here tonight. Welcome everybody to PTR TV for today's coverage of the Triple Bypass Racing League. It is going to be the Nichols Oil Pros 120 here at Texas for 120 laps around the mile and a half. And nope, that logo is not correct. Last week was the Lobster Crawl, so forgive me on that. It is the Tex Nichols sponsored event. Gonna be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the production truck. Brad Dalton helping me out with all the calls here today. So, Brad, we were at Loudon last week, which these guys did struggle with the paperclip there. But here we turn the speeds up, turn the banking up to a standard mile and a half.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching in the world, everyone. Yeah, it's nice to be here for the Nichols Oil Pros 120 here at Texas. The stars at night shine big and bright deep in the heart of Texas. And, well, Texas is a track where, I mean, I guess it depends on how much you like a cowboy hat, but it's what we're going for today. This is a track that I think these guys are going to do well on. Again, we're going from those small, runs of, kind of craziness we've had the last few weeks, and we're going into, well, a speedway. And I like it when we go to a speedway because the guys can just go. And I think handling is going to be better. I think everything's going to run a little bit better this week.
Yeah, we will see the aero push maybe come into play at the biggest degree since the new build, which happened a few weeks ago. Of course, this next-gen car getting a lot of different modifications made to it via the iRacing updates. So we'll see how the aero push does fly because, of course, here at Texas, we have the standard configuration 3 and 4. That's what this track has always had. And then turns 1 and 2, as you can see Steve McClendon here coming through. It is flatter and basically as wide as a 15-state freeway here. They'll only use maybe about a lane and a half to 2 lanes of it. So finding that clean air, getting that downforce on the nose, Brad, is going to be the challenge here tonight.
Yeah, clean air is always something that, I mean, regardless of what track you're at, the more clean air you get, the better it goes here as we go through, as the ice cream car has made a return. And I won't talk about it anymore at risk of getting in major trouble with race control later. And if you don't think a commentator can get a post-race penalty, I tell you what, you definitely can here. Don't talk about ice cream too much because the more I focus on this ice cream car, the more it comes up here as we see the beautiful Texas Speedway coming through. And Ty E. Bass, what's the E stand for this week?
Stands for, yeah, we got to come up with a list of synonyms here for our the letter E. I know we've tried it in the past, but obviously not working here. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in here to PTR TV. If it's your first time, don't make it your last. Hit the like and subscribe button on our mission to 1,800 subscribers. Just need a little bit more help from you fans out there to get us there. But now that timer clicking down to 0, so we will head down trackside for that PTR TV starting lineup, and I'll bet you go hit him off with it there, Mr. Brad.
And starting up front, it is Ty E. Bass, and we'll figure out the letter E as the night goes, with Ben Harkham in the number 78 there in second place. Twisty Bits Racing, Steve McClendon in third, with Sean Bradley in fourth place there on his outside. Michael Hopkins will be starting P5, with Dylan Freeman coming up into P6 from Lexington, South Carolina. Seventh place on the night will be Matthew Robinson, with Brad Kress in the number 9 Valvoline car in eighth place. Mark Herzog will find ninth place, with William Emert, the ice cream car, in P10.
Alan Kunman will find himself in the 11th spot with Kyle Dewey in P12. 13th, Matt Harmon with Al Corey, the boss man, in that 14th spot. Row 8 finds Nick Jones, and then Keaton Crothers, the Canadian native, and then we head down to Australia with John Campbell in 17th. Dalton Wu, the Sonic car, in 18th. Rounding out our top 20, it is not the dog, it is Derek Catt in 19th, with Marty Rogers in the 20th position.
From there, we're going to go P21 Nichols Oil Pros league sponsor, race sponsor, Tex Nichols. And then in 22nd, it is John the Naj Crutchley, one of the co-founders here of Triple Bypass. Jason Benson in 23rd, with Tyler Ruielis in P24. 25th place, we'll find Davey Hendricks from Jacksonville, Florida, with Cameron Kane in P26 from 7E Racing. Daniel Williams will find P27 with Ward Fisher in 28th. And then going on from there, it is Donald Ristow in P29 with Gary Wright to his right in P30.
All right, that'll be our starting lineup here today from the Texas Motor Speedway. Just very quickly going over the point standings here. Steve McClendon is our points leader by, 24 points over Jared Jackson. Chad Baer in third. You can see those bright yellow colors denoting that they have already won a race here on the season. And we are heading, about 60 points separating our top 10 at this juncture. And of course, today's race is brought to you by the number 60. Of course, he brings you the league sponsor with Tex Nichols and Nichols Oil Pros, but he's also our individual race sponsor. So we'll have a word with him, and hopefully he can have a good race there. That number 60 car, Tex Nichols.
Yeah, Tex, very, very awesome guy. I've worked with him a bit. I've used his services there with AMSOIL. That is what I run in my Ford Ranger. And I know if Andre was around, he's heard a lot about that wonderful Ford Ranger. I talked to him a little bit earlier today, and he said that this is very much sponsored just as an appreciation for the customers that, do support him. And if you do want to use his service, go to his website, use the link, send him an email. He'll pay for your first year of the preferred customer program that gets you a 25% discount and free shipping over $100. So if you're interested in that, go to his website and send him an email. I've used that myself, and again, AMSOIL, it's great, and Tex is awesome to work with.
Of course, we appreciate all those who helped put this league on, and go ahead and check that out. But we got to check out a night full of action here. The 120 lapper at the Texas Motor Speedway. Ty Bass and Ben Harkham are going to start this race off from the front row. Barney has the flag in hand. We're going to green flag racing here from Fort Worth.
All the cars get underway pretty well here, and it is going to be that number 2 down on the inside, holding on with the 51 following just behind of Steve McClendon. Steve McClendon, we know, is a fast driver, so keep your eye on him through the night. Ben Harkham will drop to third with Michael Hopkins into fourth here. Everybody coming off of 1 and 2. I see everybody pretty well getting through, and now up in the front, we continue the battle. Ty Bass, Steve McClendon. I worry for Ty Bass. Can he hold off Steve McClendon in the long run? We're going to find out.
Steve McClendon trying to use that little bit outer lane in turns 3 and 4, which you will see that come into fruition here, just getting that clean air, but also pretty common to see drivers run a little bit higher lane through 3 and 4. Through 1 and 2, a little bit harder to do so with that corner being flat. You see Ty Bass pulling, and then I think I heard him go into 5th gear there, and then here comes Ben Harkham being passed very quickly by, let me backtrack that, Ben Harkham making a pass quickly on Steve McClendon.
And as Ben Harkham gets that pass done on Steve McClendon, which is very unusual. Usually it's Steve McClendon passing somebody. We check back in here. Matthew Robinson, that number 34. Keep an eye on him as well. I think he's going to be quick. Sean Bradley, a little bit of a sleeper agent there. But we always talk about you don't win these races on lap 3. You win them on lap 120. So the closer we get to the end of this race, the more things are going to crank up as we go through. As Naj is trying to rip the high line here to get his way forward if he can.
Yeah, he's trying to, and 3 and 4 it is a little bit more plausible. And of course, we have some side-by-side here. Elton Wu in that Sonic car trying to pass the Worth car of Derek Kent. This is all in the 17th spot. Looking a little bit further up, you have Mark Herzog there running all the way out in Arkansas line, all the way up on that high groove, and not going to find too much speed there. But of course, 2 weeks ago, Brad, we were at a racetrack that baffles my brain, Nashville Superspeedway, and we had 16 incursions of the yellow flag. Last week at Loudon, we have 12, so I think it is also, it's a league goal, but it's also a driver goal. They want to get this race going more fluidly, so I think we're all working collectively to try to have ourselves a good green flag race today.
Did you say more fluidly? Also,
fluidly, yes. English is hard.
Also, Dylan Freeman, his taste in music is exquisite. Forest Hill Drive, J. Cole, album of the week, goated. Avril Lavigne, paint scheme, livery, if you will, goated. So, I don't like to play favorites in the booth, but sometimes I get to get away with it. Dylan Freeman is starting to win me over. He's a good driver and great taste in music. Great win there. But, back to the topic at hand there about the caution counts as they go through. The updates to the next gen car baffled a lot of people and really messed a lot of people up in terms of handling and in terms of just keeping the car together. This league was not exclusive to that. We saw that everywhere we looked. And as it's been a few weeks now, things are starting to reel in. Drivers are starting to get more comfortable with how you have to drive this car with the updates. So I think this week especially, we're going to see things reel in and, be pretty smooth as the 809 here is trying to get past the 45. Keaton Crothers behind Al Corey there, the Canadian Tire driver. Let's see what happens here as they come through. Down the front stretch they go. Down into turn 1 they go. And at the moment, Crothers will hold behind Corey.
Yeah, just going a little bit too high for comfort there. And talk about music. The Savannah Bananas baseball team, as here goes Crothers to the outside. They played at Fenway. We made a special appearance, the All-American Rejects, going back to mid-2000s alternative music. Funny part was the crowd was dead silent because they were too young to know who the All-American Rejects were. Gotta love aging my musical taste there. Dewey do what? Dewey is trying to pass the Avril Lavigne car of Dylan Freeman. Dylan hasn't had the best of luck in the last 2 weeks trying to make something happen here on a positive note in the outskirts of the top 10 there in 8th. And you get to see the different lines. And let's keep the onboard graphic up, Radicals. Let's watch, because I know we're definitely seeing some downshifting here. I think turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, which doesn't surprise me a bit to see that drop into 4th. So I think the big thing is
let's scratch that logic
on the speedway. Where did this come from?
Nick Jones in the 111. This is going to be hard to tell because car go bye-bye. Car come backy.
Was that a wheel failure?
Wheel failure or a hardware failure. Computer itself with program crashing. Something of the sort, it appeared. But we don't know for sure. Texas kind of has those little fun fences there. I don't know if they actually still do that in the real world, to be honest with you. But it's cool that we do have it simulated here in iRacing. But we'll gather up behind that generic iRacing safety car or pace car. And I did get privy to some information, Brad. 50 is approximately the fuel load. Tires are more important than you would expect them to be. But that being said, we only have 3 sets to avail ourselves here. So I'd be hard-pressed to put one on this early.
Yeah, and of course, remember, stage break will be
wait, hold on.
45.
Hold on, that. I came in hot to this broadcast, Brad. And let me just make sure that that's right, because I don't know if it is. Oh, it is. Yay, it's still right.
I was about to say, no, that was right from what I saw before it
the Bob Ross happy little accident, as we like to call that.
Yeah, 120 laps, stage break lap 45, 80% fuel, 3 tire changes. Yeah. So in theory, the stage break will get us through one of our pit stops, and then we'll have one there's already a good chunk of cars in the pits. Am I seeing that correctly? There's a good chunk in the pits already.
Yes, there is. There's Ward Fisher. There's the 35, Daniel Williams. 37, Cam Kane, all coming to the attention of their crews. So perhaps this is trying to top off, but, per what we've been told, not too sure if there's accomplishment to that, but, sometimes the drivers are smarter than us.
Maybe they just want the slightly fresher tires. But I don't know if I don't like it. I don't like it a bit is what I'm going to tell you.
Well,
and we're just going to leave it at that.
I mean, you have the same data that I do, Brad, so we can... No, nobody took tires that time by. Naj had a 23-second stop. Not sure with him, but everybody else, 6 seconds, 4 seconds, 10 seconds. So outside of Naj, who perhaps took tires or just a lot of repairs of some sort, or a penalty, it could even be. Didn't seem like tires were too populous there, but seemingly pretty...
Kane maybe took 2?
Seemingly pretty extended caution laps here. But 10-6, that would imply, typically the way that it works, I think 9 seconds is the minimum on a 2-tire stop. Not positive why iRacing hasn't skewed the pit speeds to real life where it's about 10 seconds, but that's a podcast topic. But yeah, 9 seconds tends to be 2 tires. Anything less than that tends to be fuel only. So with 10 seconds, that's either damage repair or a really slow 2-tire stop. So either way, doubled up, stacked up, ready to go green flag racing here. It'll be Ty Ebass on the bottom, and it'll be Ben Harcum to the outside.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good one here on this restart. Let's see what happens. Looking through the YouTube chat here, big shout out to everyone that's joined us. Currently looking at predictions on cautions, 6 cautions including the stage, 5 cautions not including the stage, so 6 cautions. I don't know if that's accurate. I think we could have went to the stage if it wasn't for what I'm presuming was a hardware failure there. And I'll see if I can't get a little bit of confirmation on the back end here. So we come down through Ty Bass, Ben Harcum. This is going to be a good restart here.
Dave's Hot Chicken. That's a place.
You ever had Dave's Hot Chicken?
They haven't made it there. They haven't made it their way to New England yet, but maybe if Ben Harcum can win this race, maybe he'll get a franchise up here for me. But the pace car is in. Take 2, first official restart of the day. Let's head into that restart zone and let's get at it again from Texas. Good jump by Ty Bass. McClendon trying to reclaim that second position.
Yeah, Ty Bass was not sleeping. The E stands for epinephrine because very clearly he had some adrenaline going through his system for that. Oh, big hit from Harcum into the wall there on the exit of 2. Not the only taker either. It looks like 3 or 4 cars got into the wall on the exit of 2 there.
Yeah, and there's some pretty, I don't want to say substantial, but you can certainly see some scuff marks to the right front, but seemingly hasn't slowed him down much because he's still looking right to that right rear quarter panel of McClendon trying to get that fresh air. Then behind that one further, you have Matt Robinson, but now here comes the center of the corner. That's where it funnels down to 1 lane and everyone's stuck with that dirty air. But you come through 3 and 4 here. This is the 24 degrees of banking that Texas has always offered. And seemingly everyone ripping that white line through, and Ty Bass got that half-second advantage. But actually, McClendon didn't get through at all, and here comes Harcum again for second.
And as Harcum goes down the inside, good pass there from him to clear through. But will McClendon be able to hold it there? Ripping the high line around is behind him side by side. 31.77 go along. And let's see what happens with them as they go through. Hold on side by side for a little bit. See if you can't make it complicated and find your way around the inside. And it looks like still trying to figure it out here. Will the Simpsons predict the future, or will Avril Lavigne write another smash hit? We'll find out here in just a moment as they head towards 1 and 2.
Tell you, Avril Lavigne has not aged at all. I think she's about 40 now. Still looks 22. Don't know how she pulled that one off, but either way, not a bad looker at her age. It's a lot better than Danica. She's the same age. Anyways, don't want to get yelled at there. But coming to the outside, William Emmert there. I won't talk about Haley Deegan. I know that's your prized possession, Brad. William Emmert all the way to the top of the track. Derek Catt down to the inside of the racing circuit here with Keaton Crothers trying to find which line will persevere. Is he going to just get feisty and try to go 3 wide? Well, I guess we'll find out together. The Sonic car just behind Elton Wu. Sonic has its own ice cream, but he might try to pass the ice cream car of William Emmert here as they come down the back straightaway. And I think we see some near 3 wide racing, but they have sorted it out, sort of.
Yeah, they were nearly 3 wide there in the mid-pack coming through. The 33 Kyle Dewey. Do he dare go through and in and out, trying to go to the outside, coming around there of Matthew Robinson and Mark Herzog. They keep things side by side behind them. Crescent Hopkins still going side by side. So we're just going to go 2 by 2 down in Texas, down around out of the backstretch, down through turn 2 we go.
There.
Yeah, that is
that's
lap
Harmon.
down car.
No, that's Harmon. Something must have happened to him because he was well off the pace here. Let's go back on our PTR TV replay, sort out what happened to the 28 of Matt Harmon. Dewey just arrears of him. Oh, got loose. That might be that newfangled rear air grief that the kids are talking about these days, aka aero loose. But he's up to speed and chugging along in 12th.
Yeah, but you can see he's still wiggling there on the exit to that lap. So he's still losing a little bit of pace here, trying to hold things together and keep things moving and grooving for him. But definitely he's going to be one to watch as he now drops down into 14th. And, well, he has engaged Alicia Keys mode because he keeps on falling. Not in love, but falling down the order.
Indeed the case here. Won't try to do her voice. Tex Nichols, our race sponsor and our league sponsor. He just sponsors everything here down, I almost said down under. Well, not in Aussie Vale, but we are on the caution, mate. And it's Cam Kane. He may need to be calling Aflac for some potential policy adjustments after that one.
Oh, that's a hard hit here. Let's get a PTR TV replay dialed up. And, oh, death wobble.
Yeah. Death wobble. We called it the hospital wobble at our Nashville broadcast, and it happened 87,000 times. I don't want to say that was close enough. Holy crap. Who was that? That was Ward Fisher, who missed that one by a whisker. But, but yeah, into the pits. They do have the fast repair, so he will certainly make avail of it, but unfortunately for him, he will have to make the tow. But this gives us opportunity because we have our race summary video of last week's race at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and we haven't had time to watch it yet, so this would be as good of a time as any. So let's go recap what happened at the Lobster Crawl 115.
On June 29th, 2025, the Triple Bypass Nichols Oil Pro Series stormed into New Hampshire Motor Speedway for a 115-lap battle that delivered plenty of fireworks. The race was sponsored by Matthew Robinson, and the Lobster Crawl 115 was set to kick off and broadcast live by our friends at Primetime Racing TV. With 4 different leaders, 6 lead changes, and a hefty 12 cautions totaling 36 laps, this one had no shortage of drama at the Magic Mile. Chad Bear, driving car 91, capitalized on every opportunity to bring home the win after starting from the second spot. Bear took the lead when it counted and held on to take the checkered flag, leading 11 laps on his way to victory. Timothy O'Connor, in car 119, showed grit and consistency throughout the chaos, finishing second just 0.79 seconds behind Bear. O'Connor stayed patient through the traffic and worked his way toward the front in the closing laps. Pole sitter Ty E. Bass, wheeling car 2, led a commanding 89 laps and looked poised to take the win until the closing stretch. He finished third, only 1.5 seconds behind Bear, and set an early benchmark with a 29.7 second best lap of the race. Steve McClendon quietly put together another strong showing to finish fourth, and veteran Mark Herzog came from 15th on the grid to claim fifth to cap off a wild afternoon in Loudon. Congratulations to Chad Bear on his second win of Season 8. We hope you enjoyed this Triple Bypass Nichols Oil Pro Series recap. We'll see you next time.
All right, hope you enjoyed that race recap from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway of what we endured last week. But we are still working through. I think this is our second caution of the race, if memory serves, maybe the third, but I think at least the second. We'll play that game a little bit later, but we have about 20 laps until our stage break, and that will give us a reset. So essentially, we're racing on a 20-lap dash. Thus far, our stints, you can see 24 laps, so the majority of the field has yet to pit. Our first pit stop taker is Benson down in 18th, but he still doesn't even have any fresher set of tires, so he still has the same set. So all in all, let's go race for 20 more laps, Brad. Let's see if we can get it done green.
Yeah, and as that iRacing pace car pulls off here, let's see how Ty Bass gets this restart, and if Harcum is going to be able to capitalize here. The E stands for an excellent restart through that Geico restart zone, and I mean, you can see the gap already as it looks like Harcum was slow to get away there. McClendon dives through easily. Sean Bradley's up the inside. There's the pass through. Kyle Dewey, do he dare try to make this pass? Looks like he's not able to at the moment. The 77 of Sean Bradley will hold there on the low side. Side by side they go. Where they stop? Well, it's going to be on lap 120 as they come through 2x2 in the background.
I saw Herzog in that 57, that bright yellow car, make a optimistic near 3-wide move into 3, but thought better of it. But they are still in a hornet's nest of sorts here just outside of the top 10. You have Harmon, who had that big wiggle, and there's Wu, there's Kunman in the back, there's Davey Hendricks, and who's that all the way to the top of the track? Well, that is Kunman in that number 3 car, single filed out just behind. But here we go, up a little bit higher in the field. Harcum, rather than getting second like he has been on subsequent restarts, here he goes dropping back, and Sean F. Bradley, the F stands for go fast. Well, the F just stands for fast because yeah, that. But he is going to go up to P2. That 77 has some speed tonight.
Yeah, 77 looking good here. Sean Bradley, you could tell, is dialed in here early on. Or McClendon just, again, knows where we're at in terms of race. So maybe McClendon's just holding off a little bit. It's hard to say sometimes as we go through, as we check in further back in the field here. Continuing to watch battles develop there. That is going to be behind one Mr. J.C. John Campbell.
I had to check out this paint scheme, Brad. Only because, well, now he's all the way up the track, so now is a point of interest, but that is the point. Take me back to Eden. That car is just very plain, so it actually garnered my interest because it's plain.
Do you not know about Sleep Token?
Brad, I know nothing. I'm old. What did you just say? What did you just say?
I said far.
I was gonna say I don't know if I need to put my TVMA logo on the screen, but either way, per Brad's language, this is a explicit level broadcast. Yeah, I always have that in the background just in case. You never know when we need it. But lap number 29, 15 laps to the stage. Ty E. Bass. The E stands for every lap led thus far. And Sean F. Bradley. You know what they're going to start doing? I think everyone's going to have a middle initial just to make this more interesting for us to try to come up with all these acronyms.
I was about to say, we're setting the precedent for middle initials in broadcast. Next thing you know, that's going to be a PTR TV exclusive, is middle initial broadcast where we just have people with middle initials. Yeah,
and they'll start using K's and J's and X's, even though they're not accurate here. But do we do what? Do we get passed by Brad Kress? Brad Kress, a driver, I remember earlier in the season, I don't think he won, but he was someone who dominated a few races earlier this season. Has been relatively quiet, just kind of mid-pack, mid-high, mid-teens, high teens, 8th, 7th, but hasn't had that early season speed that I remember him having.
Yeah, Brad Kress is a good, consistent driver, but I will also say kind of, for some of the drivers, there's just some of these tracks that maybe aren't their bread and butter. And I say for Brad Kress, just again, speaking from personal experience, his bread and butter is more of these longer tracks. I don't think he really enjoys short tracks or road courses.
Hospital wobble! Al Corey evade, Cunman evade, dead sideways. Somehow the 160. That was very delayed. Derek Catt, and we're still done. How did Tex get in this?
And that's Tex.
How did we wreck 6 hours after the initial wreck? But don't get me in trouble. I'm gonna try not to get in trouble, Brad.
So let's ride on board here with Tex. So spin's going, and I think for Tex, unfortunately, it was the car in front of him was going a lot slower than he expected coming off. I think Tex was off the throttle going, and I think he had to jam on the brakes when he didn't plan on it. But Herzog here,
Al Corey did a great job.
And then take me back to Eden, take you to the outside wall there.
Yeah, Derek Catt also had an overreactionary loss of control. Yeah, he turned to the left, and then he tried to swerve back, but all the weight was already on the left front.
Yeah.
And who is that person who threw off? That's right, Gary Wright in the 11. Yeah, that's the one that threw Tex off. So, but another caution flag here in the Nichols Oils Pro 120, which how many miles does that equal? 120 times 1.5. That's a number that I'm not going to try to compute. My guess says that was my guess, but didn't trust myself. So a bunch of guys coming into the pits. Those would be drivers who have already probably endured some issues here this evening, but still waiting to get to our stage.
Yeah, and as we pace through here, Ty E. Bass again leading every lap. Elton, I see back in P13 holding on there. And yeah, Al Corey, that was an impressive save. Just to give credit where credit is due there for avoiding that incident early on into the incident's life cycle. Lap 34, 120 here. Stage break is lap 45. So we'll have a 10-ish lap run to the stage, and then we'll see what happens from there. I think really from that stage break to 120, I'd say about lap 100, Corey, is lap 95 to 100 is where we'll really see drivers kind of crank it up the 11th gear.
Yeah, I think more. So we're starting to still see some of the remnants of issues that I think this car is just going to provide, and I'm not sure how much of it may be the setup. Of course, it is custom fixed setups, but we're seeing those spins on exit, Brad. It leads me to wonder if these setups are tight. So I know we were kind of talking off air about how different setups, can react. And a lot of times those tight setups will kind of create those issues where drivers get very loose on exit. Of course, sometimes if you're loose, you'll usually spin on entry through center. But I feel like these guys are struggling with these tight cars, trying to get them turned. And once it finally decides to turn, you got too much wheel into it, and there around she goes.
Yeah, they say a loose car is a fast car. I mean, a tight car you can put in a straight line, but here's the issue with racing is that you don't run in a straight line. And, these setups,
Tony Stewart
that they
does.
run, again, they're the custom fixed setups. Wait, what'd you just say?
I said Tony Stewart runs in a straight line. He changed careers because he doesn't like NASCAR anymore. I'm just being a smartass.
Okay. I knew I caught that one, and I had to take a quick second and say, wait a second. Stewart doesn't run NASCAR. What is happening? Yeah, I didn't. Okay. Anyways, yeah, it's one of those that sometimes you have to, I think there's a good balance that has to be found between a loose car and like a tight car that can handle well, but a loose car that you can really work through a corner. And that's a fine balance. The setups are great. It's such a fine balance sometimes. And remember, every driver has their own driving style. Some like a tight car, some like a loose car. And it just sort of varies depending on, what the driver wants to.
Yeah, so that's always the struggle with a fixed set. Someone's going to like it, someone's not. And hopefully everyone has control of their vehicles. But into that restart zone. Here we go, one mo again. Ty Bass on the loud pedal. Sean Bradley for the first time is going to start outside of the front row, but Harcum, he's been second a lot of this race, lost it on the last restart. He has that ideal line second on the inside, and he'll regain that second. But look at McClendon. He's all the way back there in 6th now, Brad.
McClendon well outside of where he normally is a tap to the wall there, I believe, from Robinson in the 34 on the high line there, a bit further back out of 2. Is for some reason tradition on the race restarts is to see that outside line kind of tap the wall coming through there. Brad Kress trying to run around and hold off Matthew Robinson behind. Ty Bass adds another lap lead to his cap or his cowboy hat here. We're in Texas. Let's get this right. So we come through 1 and 2, and well, everybody holding on here, Corey, for the moment. I thought I saw 4 wide.
Yeah, it's just how they space out through 1 and 2. Someone back of the field, I think that's the 160. Yeah, back into the wall there. So having the issues there. But here comes Kyle Dewey going down to the inside, making a move on Harcum. Harcum, I feel like, has used all the Goodyear off those tires, and now he's having a bad year because he's all the way up, losing some spots. Crest down to the inside. Dewey will clear, probably the most speed I think we've seen out of that 33 this season thus far.
Yeah, a lot of speed there from Dewey. Do he dare go for the race lead? And I would argue the answer is yes. As the 56 there, Davey Hendricks going to try to send it up the inside coming through. Semi-professional sim racer driver, Avon Rep. I might have to put him in contact with my mom because my mom probably needs to re-up on her Avon here in a little bit as I grimace at his grimace on his car.
I see what you did there. You know what McDonald's Happy Meals are going to be from now on? Instead of coming up with, oh yeah, we've already talked about that off air.
I was about to say, I think I sent you that.
Yeah, one of us did. They're going to, instead of having a licensed regular toy, they're just going to make a McDonald's play world with the grill and the drive-through speaker, and just tell me that you're cheaping out without telling me you're cheaping out. But I'll probably want to collect all the pieces myself because I'm a yuppie just like that. But with 5 laps to go in the stage, remember the way that it'll actually happen, the end of 44 coming to 45. That's when the league throws the cautions. But here comes Bradley going all the way middle of the track, trying to get that clean air, but also it'll give him that momentum. And just watch a little bit of slipstream, a little bit of draft action, a lot of bit of draft action. He gained good 2 car lengths just on that front stretch.
Let's see here as they come through. That length gained here as we come in, heading very close to the stage. Lap 41 here. Sean Bradley, what a run here. Ty E. Bass, E is about to stand for, I don't have an answer. Sean F. Bradley is about to stand for flying around the outside. Sends it through, sends it around. Will he get credited with the lap lead? Yes, he will. Is Ty E. Bass, for the first time this race, is down into 2nd place.
The perfect race is Scrapola here, and a big wiggle down to the inside for Ty Bass, and Bradley will run that outside lane and still hasn't cleared, which is the point of interest. And down on the inside, you can see Ty gets the run, a little bit of wiggle up the track, but here's the point on the track that matters, the run to the line, as we'll have, I believe, 2 laps to go for the stage.
And as we come through 2 laps to the stage here, still holding side by side here in the front. And as they keep that going, you would think Brad Kress would start to gain, but he's not here. And it looks like at the moment, Ty Bass is going to back his way out and hold on as we see William Emmert, the 405, getting a milkshake, brings his way up into P4.
Oh,
as we see
dented
Davey
the cup.
Hendricks, Kyle Dewey. Man, tell you what, hard racing.
Well, you know he's not getting a milkshake from Davey Hendricks because the machine's going to be broken here, but we're on 1 lap to go, sponsored by nobody. But Brad Kress blinking out of existence, but he has the speed as we complete our stage. Ty Bass got the lead back. Something of interest happened there. Sean Bradley really struggling here. Well, we'll have to check our replay, but this is going to come to the stage. Significant damage to the 77. Ty Bass gets the stage win. But we're going to have to sort out what happened to Sean.
And stage 1 through. Sean Bradley, I'm going to make a wild guess.
That he hit the wall.
There was a wobble or a wall tap. Let's see what happens here.
We're
see
going back pretty far here. Let's take a look. We're back off of turn number 2. All seems all fine and dandy at this juncture.
So he's mid there, coming out of 3 into 4.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, he
Oh.
cremated that fence there. That certainly was going to cause some suspension damage, but that Ty Bass gets the stage, but unfortunately the perfect race is shot, which is going to be a difficult endeavor no matter what. But luckily for Sean, he's only back to third, and he will get the benefit of using that backup car. I don't imagine he's going to want to repair that. I think they're just going to pull the backup car out and hope no more drastic issues occur for the rest of the race.
Yeah, I don't foresee any more drastic issues, but then again, you never know here as we go through, get ready for pit stops. I would imagine, Corey, that every single person is coming down pit lane, taking 4 tires, taking a full tank of fuel, and they'll be looking to run it out all the way into the next set of pit stops, whether that be green flag, under caution, whatever it might be. And yeah, just as you expect, every single car into pit lane here.
Yep, and they will have, for the most part, this will be the first set of tires for the majority of the field. So a bunch of others have already made pit stops predominantly for fuel only, but with 3 sets of tires on the wall, plenty of opportunity to make some strategy decisions if these drivers do choose to. You can see the Jacks going up, Jacks going down. There goes the Grimace Davey Hendrick out of his stall. There goes Harmon. Let's see who's going to win the race off pit road. It's not going to be Ty E. Bass. It's going to be Matt Harmon winning the race off pit road. And let's validate what he did in the pits. 6 seconds. So he just took fuel only there. So I'm assuming, and there's no way to validate this. Actually, there is. It's on this graphic. 2 pit stops. So he made a pit stop on one of the prior cautions. We just don't know which one.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but as he comes through, probably a good position for him at this moment is the 3 is the one that's really still catching me off guard here. Let's see where we go from this. However, I'm going to tell you right now, I think Ty Bass will very quickly get around and send his way through as we come down the front stretch. I love these caution lights at Texas. They always distract me, but I absolutely love them.
Yeah, I don't know if they do them in the real world anymore, to be honest with you. Maybe they stopped working and I can see SMI not wanting to pay to fix them again, but let's see what happens here. We will go 1 to green. Maybe on our next caution, Brad, we'll pull up our race sponsor, Tex Nichols. I know usually we have a word with our race sponsors at some juncture, but he did. Let's see, he is still running 2 laps down. He did use his fast repair, but he's 2 laps down and he will be battling with Mark Herzog for the free pass. Herzog 1 lap down. So if Tex wants to get back in there, we'll need a little bit of luck and a lot more wreckage, which at current pace probably will get some of it.
Yeah, I definitely would not be surprised here, as it seems the cars, again, are just sort of, very mid-corner-ish seems to be the problem for them as they go through. But I think that as the race goes, as the guys go, it'll come around. But we also heard that tires are a lot more of a problem than expected. So I think that will also affect things as we come through that. Is that a Toyota Camry? Can we agree that that's a Camry?
The pace car?
Yes, the pace car.
I mean, I'll settle on it. I'm not enough of a car guy to know, but I mean, it looks it with those headlights. It looks it for sure. So we'll go with it until we're told otherwise, or we get a legal letter on our desk saying don't say that. But either way, into the Geico, soon to be Echo Park, soon to be generic restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Stage 2, final stage. Cunman gets a good jump. We'll watch out for that number 2, who's already cleared for second.
And as the number 2 goes to P2 here, Harmon there around the outside goes through. Sean Bradley is already going to try to send it up the inside off of. And well, I don't know how many people owe that. I don't know how many people the outside wall of 2 owes money, but it's clearly a lot because they have all had a problem with it here today as they go through. Lap 50 now on to the books as we continue to man.
There's a turn back there, somebody. The Worth car, Derek Catt. I'm not sure what has happened to that Worth car, but he ain't worth that much now.
Let's see here. So the cat, you've got to be kidding me right meow as he goes through.
Oh.
I mean, that car just broke. He hit that first wall and something snapped in the front end and it was game over. Yeah, look at that front wheel. As we've had a big wreck on the front stretch. What in the world did we miss in the 2 seconds we looked away?
We missed the big one here at the Texas Motor Speedway is what we missed.
Well, Dega and Daytona have channeled in what happened here. Barney was quick with the yellow flag, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, unlike NASCAR in the final stage there tonight. But topic for a different day, but let's get a better look at it. They all coagulated off of turn 4. 28 hospital wobble right in front of the field.
Was that a hospital wobble or was there contact?
We'll get one more look at it. But it was Harmon.
Let's go one more again.
One more again. You're learning your ebonics, Brett. I'm proud of you. Let's see here.
Because it almost looked like...
he got loose through the bumps and never really recovered.
So there was no contact with the 31 there except for a hard hit, just like some of Avril Lavigne's songs is the 160 hits there. And instead of Take Me Back to Eden, it's take that car back to the garage because it is done and dusted.
Yeah, see there the tri-oval grass will need to get reseeded, re-something or another. But
the grounds crew are not happy.
Yeah, I'm going to stop talking, Brad, and how about you go ahead and grab our sponsor and see how his race is doing.
Yeah, where is good old Tex here? Let's get him brought up into the booth if I can. If things want to cooperate, which is sometimes easier said than done as we go through. Tex, it's Brad and Corey in the booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Tex, how's it going, man? Seems like Texas is should be the Tex land, but see your race, running a little bit further in the back there, looking at a destroyed Matt Harmon ahead of you.
Yeah, I've been having internet problems. I live in the Carolinas, and that storm is coming ashore. I think it has something to do with my latency and internet connection.
I got you. Well, Tex, you are, of course, sponsoring today's race, but overall, you're sponsoring the league as well here. Why don't you tell everybody kind of what you're about?
Well, I am a independent AMSOIL dealer, and this is a passion of mine, so I decided to sponsor the league to help out with the racing and get some advertisement. And I do one race in the season as well.
Awesome to see you running through here. Obviously, I have used your services. I know that you sponsor Harmon's son who races go-karts. Kind of see where everything goes. We, of course, see your videos at the top of every broadcast. Kind of just what is, so fun for you with sim racing here as we go through. It looks like we're on 1 to green, so I won't keep you long, but kind of what brought you into sim racing?
I've been doing sim racing since way back NASCAR racing 2003. I took a long break from it, but I was actually a pit crew member on a ARCA team for a while, and anyways, just a bunch of my friends were racing and I got into it, and I was doing go-kart racing as well. That's the reason I jumped on board with Harmon's kid, Lucas.
Well, Tex, it's awesome to watch you go through. Thank you for sponsoring the series. We're going to let you get back here on this restart, and we'll catch up with you later, man.
I appreciate you guys.
And that was Tex as we go back here on the green flag, led by Alan Kunman in the number 3.
Led by Kunman in the 3, and Ty Bass to the outside. Sean Bradley in a freshly repaired number 77 Plow King Ford Mustang, but Kunman going to make like 2 trailer park girls, try to go around the outside through turns number 1 and 2. But Bradley down to the inside. I think that's Herzog all the way down to the apron on the back straightaway. Coming through 3 and 4. Bradley going to sail it on in there, but the 2 not giving up all the while. Kunman starting to pull away, get a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, and as Kunman pulls that gap out, for the record, Texas is a great track for the Earnhardts, specifically Dale Jr. Dale Jr. has tons of wins here, so we'll see how this goes through. Dale Jr., of course, won his first ever races in 98 and in 2000 for the Nationwide and the Sprint Series, respectively, going through. So no surprise to see the number 3 doing pretty well up front.
Did you just say Sprint Cup Series in 2000, Brad? All of us traditional old people just literally want to throw tomatoes at you.
Listen, this is from my pre-race research. I can show you verbatim where I pulled it.
Cup Series! They're not allowed to advertise that because laws changed since then, where you can't have tobacco sponsors on a mainstream source of media here, but is what that is. But what this is what it is. Indeed, it is a battle for the second spot. Bradley and Bass. Bradley hanging on. I can't tell who's faster, but I can tell you one thing. They're both faster than that number 3. That half-second gap has been abolished here, down to nothing. But how well will that 3 be able to play defense? We'll find out.
Yeah, and as they come through, going around, I think defense will be a pretty good skill here. Let's see what that 3 can channel in. Goes up there, good block, holds it right in the middle of the track, and I don't think he's going to put as much pressure there on Sean Bradley as he probably could have, squeezing around. Still the wrong oil sponsor in the lead right now, as that Mobil 1 number 3 runs the midline, and well, we'll give up the pace there to Sean Bradley, but now is going to look. Sean Bradley swerves. Kunman will swerve with him. He's going to try to send it down low. Let's see if he can get a pass back, as the number 2 wants to get back into P2 and put the 3 in P3.
Yes, he does. Here is that number 3 car, and we'll bring up our stints very briefly for you. You can see 25 laps for Kunman, so he has those tires much more old, much more slow, much more worn out. And we've been told tires are important, and we are battling a race here where we will have one more guaranteed pit stop for the majority of the field, be around lap 90, but for Kunman, he would have to come in probably around lap 80 or so, but even with that, he'd still be in position to run this thing through to the end. Freeman and Corey, both in fresh backup cars, they're battling there for 14th and 15th.
And as they come through, battle for 14th and 15th in the backup cars, which should have some good run. No wear, no tear, no money, no problems. See what happens here as they come through. What'd you say?
I said K, Biggie.
Yep, that is what I'm here for. As the 31 goes down low, looks like we'll get past that Canadian Tire running the good years of Al Corey as they go through around, and yeah, we'll clear it for at least a moment. Let's see if there's a fight back, though, down the inside.
Yeah, Brad, that's exactly why I brought you onto this team, to be my 90s rap quote reference. That was your selling ticket there. Absolutely the case here. But it looks as though Al Corey will clear. He won't, because Freeman will get the run off the outside and run through the back. Corey struggling to keep it down to the bottom there, all the way up to that second lane. 31 gets a little bit of a wiggle, but we'll be able to persevere. Again, this is great stuff for the 15th position, as we do have a major note of major notice here. Ty E. Bass. The E stands for electronic signal failure. And it's now back, but he was gone for quite some time.
Ty Bass, I do not recall off the top of my head where he's from. I'm going to double check myself on that here in a second. So Ty Bass very clearly also getting caught up in a little bit. He is from North Carolina as well, according to what I'm seeing. So it looks like the on-edge racer there who placed 37th in the 2023 Daytona 500, according to our behind-the-scenes sheet. Looks like he may be facing some of that same Carolina connection issues that are happening.
Yeah, hopefully those, at least any issues that do come about, hopefully they are rather short-lived and don't cause a fast car to get knocked out of this race for reasons outside of the driver's control. Always things you don't want to see. Let's go all the way a little bit further back, try to find some people we haven't really followed too much here on the broadcast. All the way in the back, off in their own field, John Campbell, he's just kind of time trialing here by himself in that 21st spot. Gary Wright in 22nd, Herzog 23rd, and It's a name we haven't followed. Ward Fisher, I don't think we've talked about him. He's cruising along by himself there in the 18th spot. But Ben Harcum, a name we have talked about. He is to the outside, I think, getting surpassed by Michael Hopkins, who might be on a little bit of a charge through the field. Or a
Michael Hopkins
comeback tour, I suppose.
It's definitely the comeback tour. You know, it's the Ozzy Osbourne last concert here coming through for him as he's trying to just work his way back up towards the top here. Let's see what he can do as he slides back in underneath. We'll hold on single file for the moment. Doesn't hit the wall. I believe the wall has paid its money to him as they come out of 4. We'll see if the turn 2 wall still owes him a little bit of cash, though, as he comes around, continues this battle on against that 78 car of Ben Harcum. I think Michael Hopkins will be able to work his way back up. Again, I think it'll just take time as we're lap 66 of 120. We're over halfway through, Corey. So, I mean, at this point, you're going to start seeing some of the guys just decide when to sort of turn on that 5th gear and go through.
Yeah, and speaking of 5th gear, quite literally, using 5th gear here, and coming down into turn number 1, you can see we're right down to 4th gear as Keaton Crothers having some connectivity issues. He has temporarily disconnected from the world and has come back. So luckily iRacing being a little lenient with these drivers with their connections, and drivers also being patient to give them space and not fill in any invisible gaps here, but filling in a literal gap. Daniel Williams passing Hopkins, so maybe Hopkins not heading in the direction we so expected.
And as they go through, Hopkins dropping down into P13 at the moment, as Williams, it looks like, has decided lap 68 is where he wants to kind of turn things up, keep things moving, keep things grooving while he can. As I do see the 405 of William Emmert there trying to go down the inside of Matthew Robinson. Let's see what happens here. A little bit of love, a little bit of a go through, and well, ice cream and cake to the ice cream and cake. And now you slide through to lap 69. Very nice.
69, we are surpassed halfway point, and are being told here that Ty E. Bass, he is not just a good racer, he's actually good at catching the bass. Obviously a good fisherman of sorts here, so Tyrone Bass, as is on his driver door there. Multifaceted individual there he is. Here comes Gremis trying to get by Dewey. That is Davey Hendricks, kind of stuck there behind that 33. Trying to look high, trying to look low. Neither way seeming to make him progress.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of doing what you can here while you can going through. I think, again, just a little bit of patience has to be shown as we watch them run through and run around. There's the 56 down the inside of the 33. Kyle Dewey, do he stay high? And yes, he does, as Davey Hendricks gets that pass done. Checking back in a little bit further back. Steve McClendon, ever since the stage break, has sort of just stalled and is holding on P7. He was at one point kind of contending for the lead, but now he's sort of stuck there at P7, and he's got a gap ahead, he's got a gap behind. But I mean, I don't know if this is just him conserving at this point or what this is.
Yeah, not quite sure. Did see a battle there for a brief moment. Emmert got around the 34. As going a little bit further back, we have Harmon, I think, on a charge. Remember, he was involved in the big one. He had the hospital wobble there right in that turn 4 area we're just going through, getting by Ward Fisher. Something I am quite interested in, Brad, is the fact that Kunman in the 3, he is not going anywhere. Remember, he is on tires that are about 13 laps older than most of the drivers around him. And he did lose the lead to Sean Bradley, and we kind of figured he would just, fall off the cliff, drop back 7th, 10th spot. But no, he is staying right at 3/10, and if anything, some laps he's actually a little bit faster.
And that's exactly what you want to see from Alan Cudman there as he goes along. I mean, you just want to see this sort of consistency and, patience being given. That tells me that he knew when he went on those tires about 10 laps sooner than everyone else. He knew he needed to conserve a little bit. He did just that, and it put him in a great position now where, I mean, as soon as it hits a point that he can pit in, get tires, get fuel, I mean, he's truly in that second place, in that contention for the win as they go through. I think the big issue for him at this point is going to be just how things are running. Will we have another caution coming up anytime soon? Because Kunman, for him to make this strategy work that he's running, he's got to bank on a caution.
Well, I mean, if you think of it, like I said, he is 40 laps in. I'll retrack our stint graphic, and everything that we were told coming in was 50 to 52 laps, kind of being the maximum here. So that being said, he can go another 11. That puts him at 85. That puts him 35 laps to the end. So he's going to be fine. My question really is he going to draw anybody to come in early? Because in terms of the tire wear, I guess let's just reference it with our race leader. What is our actual fall off here today? Right at 1 second. So if Kunman pits in 10 laps, he's going to gain a second a lap. And that's not going to be something that Bradley, Ty Bass, Hendricks is going to want to give up. So if anything, I think Kunman's kind of setting the tone of this race right now.
You know, now that you bring it up, you do have a good point. I hadn't thought about that because it does pin everyone in this weird position. It sort of sets it up to how, if you keep up with PCR TV, of course, you'll know that we cover the Area Truck and the Area Pro Series on Tuesday and Thursday nights, respectively. It almost sets us up in that similar situation. And that's a weird place to be where, you know, strategy is the run. Of course, Thursday night's race went 100% green in Asheville Super Speedway, not a single caution to be found, but it put everyone in a one-stop versus two-stop strategy sort of chaos situation that nobody really knew what the answer was, but two-stop ended up being the way, and it was the guys who pit a little bit earlier who set the pace for everyone. As soon as one guy came in, it was 10 guys came in, so nobody wanted to be the last one out on track.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case here, but good a time as ever before that cycle happens. Let's go ahead and do our race through the field here. Sean Bradley is our race leader. We get Alan Kunman in second. We get Ty E. Bass in third. Davey Hendricks in the Grimace Mobile in fourth. Dewey Do What, he runs in fifth. Elton Woo has moved up to the sixth spot. William Emmer in the Ice Cream Automobile in seventh. Steve McClendon, our points leader, in eighth. Keaton Crothers directly behind in ninth, and then 10th rounding out with Daniel Williams.
And there we go, P11. That is going to be Ben Harcum, who started all the way up in second. His nut has dropped down. Matthew Robinson down into P12. And then we go P13, one Mr. Al Corey, who started 14th. He's actually up one place, making two places on the day. Michael Hopkins started fifth. Currently, Alicia Keys mode engaged as he is down 14th. Dylan Freeman rounds out P15 in the Avril Lavigne car. P16 will be Marty Rogers. And P17 will find John the Crutchley in the number 48. Excuse me, as Matt Harmon is in the 28, P18, and P19 will be Ward Fisher. P20 on the night is Jason Benson.
And then just rounding out the rest of the drivers currently on circuit, we have John Campbell, 21st. He has significant left front damage, and right front damage goes to Gary Wright. He is in 22nd. Mark Herzog, the Snoopy Mobile, the Snoopy, yeah, I guess he is the Snoopy Mobile. I see a Snoopy on the car. He is in 23rd. And our race/league sponsor, Tex Nichols, 2 laps down in 24th. Tyler Rulas, Derek Catt, Brad Kress, Cam Kane, and Nick Jones have retired from this race that is the Nichols Oil Pros 120. But we're waiting on that ever so elusive pit stop to set the sequence of the rest of the race. Should happen really at any moment, and what is happening at the present moment is the Grimace is trying to pass Ty E. Bass. This is going to be a depressing race for Ty there, Brad, and leading all those laps and heading in the wrong direction as things wind down.
Yeah, and it's so weird to kind of see Ty Bass with as much pace as he had sort of dropping through as he's trying to use that side draft to get that pass done. We all know that side draft is very important for really finalizing out the passes with the new Aero update, and it looks like he's able to do just that there. And no! Saved it.
Brad, no choice. Have to do it.
How did you save that car? Well, I'm just so daggone good.
Ricky Rudd's Save of the Race Award without question going to Ty Bass. And Ty is going to instantly go to the pits. He has cut to the pits. So, but let's take a look at that. He tried to shut the door, and the door could not be shut. Luckily for him, Texas has 18,000 feet of rail estate to that outside, and He used about 1,000 of it and made that save.
Yeah, that was a great save there going through, but now he is indeed into the pits, and I would say that is probably a good time as any. Go Code Brown, go change your underwear really quick, because I definitely would need to change my underwear if I was behind the driver's seat there. That was a Code Brown DEFCON level 5, whatever you want to call it. Or is it DEFCON 1? No, it's DEFCON 1 moment as Avril Lavigne is in the number 1. Yep. Sean Bradley holds the lead with Kunman in second, as we see that number 51 McClendon exiting the pits.
So surprisingly, well, actually not. Well, I'll cut that thought off. Here comes Sean Bradley down, and I will say surprisingly, as he locks up the brakes. Hopefully that is well within the speed confines. But surprisingly, Kunman, who we expected to be the first to pit of the leaders, is actually not the first to pit in hospital wobble, but he kept himself out of the ambulance.
And I'm going to tell you right now that Kunman's probably setting it up to pit, if I had to make a guess. Let's see what he does here on the exit of 4 as Davey Hendricks will take the lead. Let's see, slowing it way down there as he's going to be down into second gear, getting it down into pit lane
That was
speed.
a very conservative entry, which is good in one confine, but it could be bad because it might cost him some time here. But there goes the Woo-mobile of Elton with his Grillo's Pickles, whatever it is. Grillo's Pickles. I don't know if that's a Sonic thing or if that's a custom sponsor, but either way.
It's a Sonic thing.
All right, yeah. I'm not a pickle guy. But here comes, speaking of things I don't eat pickles on, a McDonald's hamburger. Here comes, I mean, I'll eat them, but I mean, I'm not going to enjoy it. But Dewey in the pits as well. And we'll see. Remember, we talked about that 1 second fall off. We'll have to see how everything shakes out with how that 1 second fall off, blends out into these different laps of pit stops.
Now let's see here as the 405 is up front with a ice cream cake in the lead by 2 seconds and gaining actually more time as he continues through ahead of Daniel Williams in the 35 and AI Al Corey there in third in the number 45. Ben Harcum there in fourth, Michael Hopkins fifth. Things cycling their way through. Only the top 11 on the lead lap right now, but that's because Ty Bass is currently holding the technical lead once everyone cycles through their pit stops, which it looks like Emmer may be going now, and that's a cluster behind.
Yeah, this is the pseudo battle for the lead. Ty Bass and Sean Bradley, and that may not last very long, but Ty Bass has 2 extra laps on the tires. Doesn't sound like a lot, but I'll tell you that it is. As Michael Hopkins, he comes into the pits, and this is the battle for about 12th, but this is the pseudo battle for the lead here, and I think the 2 is going to get stuck behind the pick. That is Matt Harmon, pardon me. Mike Harmon, the overweight Xfinity driver from back in the day. But Ty Bass will lose the spot to Sean, and we'll see how this equalizes out upon the rest of the pit stops. Al Corey.
Yeah, Al Corey now decided
I shouldn't talk about Mike Harmon like that, because he'll tell me to meet him out back of an Applebee's and fight me. Dirt and some old timers will get that reference. Brad, you might have to talk to Andre after, but Mike Harmon, an old guy that you don't want to mess with. But either way, someone you don't want to mess with. I don't know. Who do you not want to mess with? William Ebert, because he has ice cream on his car.
I was about to say, I like ice cream. I really like ice cream, and he's running around right now like he's chasing some ice cream through around. Obviously, it's the Brahms sponsorship. The nearest thing to me is a Baskin-Robbins, so I might see if he'll take a quick run with me to Baskin-Robbins after this race, because that Brahms car going through, maybe he'll bring me some Brahms ice cream. I don't know. Ice cream sounds good, and pair some ice cream with a Swiss roll, that might be delicious. Why does that sound so good? Can you tell I'm hungry? Anyways, 405 still running here, lap 92 of 120. Mick at 93 of 120 with the lead as top 8 only cars on the lead lap at the moment.
Yep, still waiting for those pit stops to occur there. You can see the freshest tires of those who have pitted is that they're of Davey Hendricks and his track position in reference to everybody else. He is a ways back to where I don't think those lap or 2 are going to have any tangible effect on the field here, but just waiting for everything to shuffle out. And I'll tell you, Brad, and it's pretty obvious, The one thing that any of these drivers who have already pitted is praying for is for this to cycle out. The worst thing that can happen is if you've already pitted and a caution comes out through the green flag cycle.
It is heartbreaking, but as it stands right now, I tell you what, this has been a different group from the stage break to now as they've run through. I mean, Naj, sir, your pit box was about like
it's not to
20
infinity,
feet back.
Not to infinity and beyond there. It's he went beyond his pit stall there. I don't think I've seen those in all the broadcasts we've done. I don't think I've seen a Buzz Lightyear pit crew. That's actually pretty nifty.
That is really nice, actually. Yeah, that one caught me off guard too. How is Emmert still running, by the way? How is he just cruising around out here with a 3-second lead? Not a can. Well, never mind. I'll stop talking.
He's into the pits. Harcum also in, Robinson, Harmon, and Fisher. So I think outside of Benson and David Williams. That's the British guy from Britain's Got Talent. Daniel Williams is leading this thing down. We're waiting on him and Jason Benson to come and make their stops. And then we will be cycled back to where we were prior to that. Emmert waiting for his stop, and just makes you wonder how much time he's going to lose, Brad. Remember, a second a lap. He stayed out an extra 10 laps.
Almost a Parasini pirouette, but not quite.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, I won't say he saved that, but he didn't wreck it. So it's kind of a little in between there. But this is our battle for the lead, battle for the win. Sean Bradley has a pretty significant gap, that of about a second on Ty Bass. Alan Kunman, they're in third. And now I guess this is something to watch.
What's Bass racing so hard with?
I think that was just getting on a lap car there, but Kunman on fresher tires actually running. He ran 9/10 of a second faster last lap, so not sure what happened to Ty Bass. Let's leave this up and see what the actual speed differential is here. Because again, Kunman has the freshest tires of anybody, including the leader, but only by 1 lap.
Yeah, let's see here as they go through. Kunman at the moment looking pretty good here.
He's faster, but not enough.
Nah, but faster nonetheless. Maybe there's more time to be found. I don't think so though.
Not really. I mean, that just kind of, it is what it is, but it'll take a caution flag to throw anything off here. But Benson, I think he's hoping for that caution because he's going to be probably a lap and a half down once all things cycle through, where he is on the track now all the way to the outside. I don't plan on seeing him pit this time by. No, he will not. And just these drivers, you can see Al Corey, you can see Emmert, they're getting around, they're unlapping themselves, which is very, very vital, because if a caution comes around, you don't want to be a wave around car, you want to be on the lead lap so you can pit in sequence with everybody else. So getting around the leader before they pit, certainly something you need to try to achieve.
That it's doable too. It's just a matter of really pushing, making it happen here as we come through. 78 Harcum will now unlap himself there, and you can see making his way through. Let's see here when Benson is going to decide to pit, because at this point Benson is on lap number 48.
So
of his stint.
From what we've been told, he's got about a maximum of 4 laps left. So that would put him about 15, 16 to go, and all he is battling for is a caution flag. That's about it, and you can't blame him for it. You know, if you don't have the speed, you got to win it. You got to get yourself, not even win, just get yourself a better finishing position than you would have had otherwise, and sometimes that just requires a little bit of luck and a little bit of strategy call. But going back to our second place / first place driver, Bradley has a 1.5 lead over Ty Bass. Kunman is about a second or so behind that. Davey a half second behind that. And you go back about 2 seconds to Steve McClendon, who will be the top 5 once everything shuffles through.
Yeah, looking at just times to kind of give you all an idea of what Benson is fighting with at this point. Benson, through the first half of the lap, ran a 15.760. Sean Bradley ran a 15.35. So I'll just give you an idea there of lap pace difference that he's fighting on. I mean, it's truly borrowed time, even if you look at fuel loads, whatever else you want to calculate at, even on just lap pace, it would be borrowed time here. If a caution comes out right now, I'm telling you right now, I might flip my desk. I might lose my mind, because that would be the craziest possible way for Benson to get, whoa! Hurts off.
Well, just as you made that illustrious statement, Brad, I think someone said, hold my beer, I'm going to try. Robinson to the inside.
Did he want to pit? Is that what happened? And it just, too many people, not enough space?
I don't quite know, but unfortunately, in PTR TV fashion, because I'm on a beta level of overlays, they have since crashed on me. So just give me a moment to get the overlays back up, Brad.
See, as they continue to run their way around here, trying to go through. Yeah, this has been a great race so far. And again, that stage break really differentiating things to a point, because it was just a completely different setup of what could have happened compared to where they're at. As Sean Bradley here is running his way around, 16 laps to go. Having a great run here now that the car that was in the lead of Benson has pit, and 1.3 seconds the gap, though. I will say Ty Bass trying to close things through, I believe, as the 42 just now coming out of the pits. His time ran out, 16 laps to go, 15 laps to go.
Yep, 15 laps to go, and we're coming through to the point where things are just, they're starting to normalize out. Everyone kind of has their gap, and at this point in the race, Brad, people just kind of realize, I got what I got, and let me not ruin where I am now. Because sometimes, you know, as John Campbell coming into the pits, you know, you have it out in Wu right now. He is a 6th place car, and he really wants to get 5th. But he hasn't had the greatest of seasons. So the worst thing he can do is try too hard to get 5th and then end up finishing 25th because he tried too hard. So get what you can get and don't lose it trying to go above your level.
Get what you get and don't throw a fit is what I'm going to say on that one.
I think it's you get what you get, you don't get upset. But I get what you're digging at there.
I've heard it a different way that I can't say on broadcast. So as we go through, though, the Sonic car, which, by the way, if you've had the pickle boba, I'm judging you wholeheartedly if you've had the pickle slush with the pickle boba, because that just should not exist as JC John Campbell comes out. Sean Bradley in the lead here, still holding a 1.3 steady gap there on Ty E. Bass, but the E stands for endurance because he is slowly trying to close that gap in. Sometimes it's down to 1.2, but now it's up to 1.4. So we see where that's at as Steve McClendon is battling it out with Kyle Dewey. Do he dare go down the inside of McClendon?
Yeah, he's headed in the wrong direction. I'll say that. Steve McClendon was in 5th. Now he's down to 7th, and I'll tell you, not too far back, may have kissed the wall there, but not too far back is the 809 of Crothers, and then even further still, you have Emmert, who is on the freshest of tires. So McClendon could easily fall, still stay within the top 10, but he could easily fall, right around 10th from, running in the top 5. But Sean Bradley just wants this thing to run through. Although Ty Bass was about a half tenth faster, a half tenth over this much, time left, he's not going to overcome that.
Not at all, unless lap traffic really starts to cause some aero issues, which could be possible. I mean, only really one way to find out here as it goes through, and we continue along this race. Kind of looking through, and I was thinking about, why isn't Steve McClendon racing harder? He doesn't have to. He already has a win on the season. He can kind of just chill out as we go through, and we're almost into playoffs as it goes. I mean, we have Indianapolis Motor Speedway next week. We have Bristol 2 weeks from that, and then it's Daytona, Phoenix, Darlington to end our season at the end of August. So we're 5 races out from the end of the season. If I'm McClendon, I'm not racing anything too hard. I don't want to get under any trouble by race control. I just want to kind of cruise to the end.
Yeah, and McClendon, he's kind of been in the same vein as a I'll put him in the same vein as like a Kyle Larson as of late. As I think Dewey may have been in the wall there. But Larson obviously is super hot, dominated the early part of the NASCAR season, but recent weeks he's been really just kind of average, mid. I know Larson hasn't led a lap in about 5 races now, which is completely unheard of. But to see, McLendon, he really hasn't been doing too much. I'd say the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, but here's the thing is once we come up in the playoffs, the final 3 races of the season here after Indy Bristol the next 2 weeks, he's going to crank that dial up, and I would not be surprised if we don't see McLendon do McLendon things. But there is also the counter to this, which is maybe the updates to the car have really affected the way he runs and the way he can handle the car. Not really a good way to know until we kind of hit those playoff races and see what happens. But coming through 6 laps to go here, Corey, Ty Bass has managed to close the gap to under a second on Sean Bradley.
Yeah, that last time by about a second, a tenth and a half faster. Now he did have to, Sean Bradley did have to navigate a little bit of traffic. I'm not sure if that led into it, but Ty Bass is going to have to navigate that traffic, which might, extend that back to where it was prior.
Yeah, let's see where this comes through. 6 laps to go. Just time to figure it out. We'll see what happens as it runs through here. Coming around on the outside there is going to be Harmon, who is just going to let this one through. And yeah, this is going to be where I think the gaps really change there, because Naj is going to make his way around the inside of Harmon. I don't see Ty Bass getting there near as quick as he's had to let up a little bit through mid-corner. Corner exit, though. Carves his way through. Gap maintains 1 second. We might have a battle. Last 5 laps for the lead.
Yeah, you can see Bradley using that outside lane and Ty Bass right on that bottom. And you can see what it'll do. You see, watch that interval. It climbs and climbs and climbs back over a second. But then through the center of the corner with that lesser distance that Ty Bass is running, it goes down. And this is where it just comes back on corner exit. I think that outside lane is the place to be, and Ty Bass, he's trying to run in clean air. You got to give him credit. I just don't think that inside has enough steam left.
Don't think it does either here as they go through, come around. It's so close to where it needs to be, but just not close enough at the same time as that's some swerving that if you were in a Formula One race would get you sent to the stewards and probably get you a race ban or $50,000 to Michael Massey. Just depends. So we come through the 33 Dewey Doohy battle with Keaton Crothers. Sapporo there on the outside and Crothers on the inside. It looks like the Sapporo car of Dewey will hold that outside line for now, may be able to make that pass, and no, we'll settle back into the low line. 3 laps to go, 2 laps to go.
Just about 3 miles to go in a race that started off rough around the edges, Brad, with, now I've lost my caution graphics, but I want to say it was around 6 yellows, 5, 6 yellows, somewhere in that ballpark, but ever since then it has smoothed on out, and here we come. Barney has the flag in hand, and I think we're going to get it with relative ease here, and 1.5 more laps for the Nichols Oil Pros 120.
And as we come through here around, Sean Bradley just needs to stay nice and smooth here on this final lap. Through 1 and 2 he goes. I mean, consistent. Ty Bass had such a dominating run, but they say E comes before F, but if you are Sean F. Bradley, well, the F stands for finishers. He's going to come through 3 and 4, and he will get the lead through, hold on to it, and great run here from Sean Bradley coming in the line.
Yep, coming off turn number 4, round number 9 is going to go to Sean Bradley. He'll get the cowboy hat and the straight shooters. He is going to get the win here at Texas. Ty Bass will finish in second by a margin of about 1 second. And Alan Kunman gets himself a podium here. One of the best runs we've seen from him. The strategy call got him a solid podium effort.
Yeah, I mean, a great run from him there, because you have to make the decision at some point, and I think that alternate strategy for him just really worked. So big shout out to him there for pulling off what I didn't think was possible, and I do enjoy it when drivers prove me wrong.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see the little victory celebration by Mr. Bradley. If he's going to do the donuts, no, he's just going to... Oh, there he goes. I was going to say maybe he's just going to park it. Some drivers all have their different mentalities, and they'll do that Texas-style burnout everything. Well, the donuts are bigger in Texas here. So while that goes on, let's head up and give you the final rundown of results. Start our post-race show here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Sean Bradley getting that win by a final margin, that thereof 1 second, basically, with over Ty Ebass. Alan Conman with third. For the 3-car, Davey Hendricks in fourth. Elton Wu, 5-car, gets a 5th spot. Crothers in 6th. Dewey in 7th. Emmert in 8th. McClendon falls back to 9th. And then Al Corey in 10th.
And then going on from there, P11, Ben Harkin with Daniel Williams in 12th place, Marty Rogers, P13 with Matthew Robinson in 14th. Dylan Freeman finds his way into P15 with Michael Hopkins in 16th. Jason Benson, P17, Ward Fisher, 18th. John the Naj Crutchley finds 19th, a lap down. JC John Campbell, 2 laps down in P20.
And then running out the field here, Gary Wright, 21st. Tex Nichols uses attrition, gets up to 22nd. Harmon, 23rd. Herzog, 24th. Tyler Rulas, 25th. Derek Capp, Brad Kress, Cameron Kane, Nick Jones, and Donald Rustow did not take any time here today at the Texas Motor Speedway. But let's go ahead and start our post-race show. We'll go ahead and grab our race winner in the form of Sean Bradley. Sean heading himself into victory circle here today at Texas Motor Speedway. Sean, you led a matter of 46 laps, had to make some green flag stops, get around Ty Bass, and get yourself drinking the victory solution here today. How's this one feel?
Yeah, this one feels better than, taking one for weird field strategy like at Nashville. So this one was on speed, so I feel really good about this. And, the hard part was, trying to get around Ty Bass and hold him off. He's so fast. Fast Bass.
Now, hard to pass here. Now, first mile and a half that the league has been to since the new updates to the next-gen car. And how difficult was Dirty Air? I know we saw a lot of guys trying to find some different lanes, trying to make them work. How difficult was that here at Texas?
Yeah, Dirty Air was huge. Super aero tight behind another car. You'd had to take another lane, and if they moved up into your lane, you're going to have to, check up so you don't hit the wall. It was a lot like IndyCar racing. So, yeah, that was definitely an element.
Yep, and let's just take a look at next week's schedule, because I don't have it right in front of me, but I'm loading it in right now. You guys will be headed to the Brickyard, Indianapolis Motor Speedway next week for an 85 lapper. I'm sure Dirty Air is going to be pretty big there. What's your confidence level? What's your track record there at that place?
I got a win there a couple seasons ago, so I feel pretty good about Indy. We'll see how the Dirty Air affects it, though. I mean, you don't have no choice but to follow someone, going into the low line in Indy, so that could be a big problem.
All right, well, we'll see how it works out, man, but go ahead and celebrate this. Great job, well driven, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Cheers.
And now second place is Ty Bass, and he is with Brad.
Yeah, Ty Bass, welcome in here to the post-race show. Started first, finished second, man. It was just a hard-fought race to the end. Kind of talk me through what happened there.
Yeah, it was just ever since the update, the clean air in these cars have been pretty insane. And I felt like whoever was out front was going to be who won unless they made a major mistake. I tried to pit a few laps early to jump Sean. He had got me in the pit cycle before, and he just ended up sneaking by me when we were coming through traffic. And once he was out front, Dirty Air, it was just nothing I could really do to get within that 1 second bubble. But overall, it was a good night.
Yeah, Ty, it seemed like a lot of good running there up front. Lots of great battles there. We kind of got some information before the race that tires made a huge difference on the car. Did you experience that in the car too?
Yeah, they were. I think mine were down to like high 60s right there after that first 40 lap run. So they were definitely wearing a decent amount, but I would say clean air was the most important thing. Being able to conserve your tires out front is so much easier, especially here, rather than being stuck in that dirty air.
Absolutely, man. And just looking forward to Indianapolis next week. How are you feeling about it?
Judging off how the other races have been, I'm sure it'll be very track you'll have to be qualifying good, and you'll have to be up front at all times. I don't think you'll be able to come through the field, especially with Indy being kind of a one-lane track. So I would think that qualifying would be super important, and keeping your track position.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations on the second place, even though you qualified up front. Still a great second place found, and we'll catch up with you next week at Indy, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, and then rounding out our Alan Cudman.
I do not see him.
All right, well, can't talk to somebody who's not here, so I guess that'll wrap up our post-race show here from the Texas Motor Speedway. With final words before we sign out, Brad?
I think Indy next week is going to be a lot of fun to kind of see how things go. It was a great race here today from the guys here at Triple Bypass. And a big shout out to Tex here in Texas. Got a little bit of info after that his game crashed out, and he ended up a few laps down. Felt like he could have had a top 15, and, well, he still had a great run here. Tex in Texas, and I think he'll have some fun in Indy.
Jeff Slaughter saying Ty E. Bass. The E stands for hauling ass. I don't think that passes the alphabet, but we'll let it slide here. But make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. And we're trying to get to 1,800 subscribers. If you haven't helped us out there, we surely would appreciate it. Stay tuned for our next broadcast on Tuesday night with the Area Truck Series, and then the Area Pro Series on Thursday nights. Elbows out on Wednesdays, and then we'll be back on Sunday with some more Triple Bypass. That'll be Corey and Brad signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.
See you.